Hello, my name is Penny Meckley Porter, and I am a therapist here in Erie, PA, and I'm happy to be with you today. Although I'm a little embarrassed because I had gotten myself confused and was thinking I was supposed to be on at 12:30 instead of 12. I apologize to you. I appreciate anybody who's tuned in today. Thanks so much for coming. So today so it's 25 minutes. And so what we're going to do, I'm going to teach a little bit about mindfulness and the benefits of mindfulness, but then we're going to have like 2 10-minute practice sessions, okay? That way we get some practice in, but we're also learning, kind of how does it work, and even a little bit about how you can practice this at home in between sessions. So first, I want to say, I know some of you watched last week, and I appreciate that. But for those of you who haven't, mindfulness is a subset of meditation. And mindfulness there's lots of different ways to talk about mindfulness, but essentially it is the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So the bottom line is mindfulness is coming into the present moment, not being in the past, not being in the future, being fully right here and not judging yourself. That can be the hard part. So first, what I'd like to do is do a breath awareness and sound awareness exercise. Breath awareness, sound awareness, kind of meditation, okay? So I'd like all of you to sit comfortably. Eyes closed, if you're comfortable with that. And then as you close your eyes, first I'm going to have you just breathe normally. Don't change your breath at all this time. We did that a little bit last time. But this time we're just going to have you breathe normally. And first I'd like you to, and forgive me if I have my eyes closed sometimes. I practice this all the time with my clients and it helps me to close my eyes. So just breathe normally and notice your breath. So probably just notice your whole kind of chest cavity, your whole rib cage area. As you inhale, the whole rib cage expands, and as you exhale, the whole rib cage contracts. Yes. Keep noticing every inhale. There's a big expansion, and every exhale, there's a contraction. So again, inhale, exhale, but at your own pace. Don't worry about my pace. I'll be slower than you are, faster than you are. We don't know. So you're just sticking to your own pace. Noticing your inhale, how it feels in your chest. Noticing your exhale, how it feels in your chest. Next, I'd like to switch to a sound awareness. So you can keep noticing your body. But now I'd like you to start noticing, bring your awareness to sounds. There's the sound of my voice right now. There are probably some sounds wherever you are, maybe in your house, in an office. There are sounds. Maybe it's your heating system. Maybe there are people in another room. Maybe you can hear traffic, noises. Maybe you can hear birds. or other sounds. I just heard a very faint train whistle. Maybe you can hear dogs or cats, your own or someone else's. What we're doing right now is relaxing into perhaps the quiet. I almost said the quiet, but it might not be quiet. We're kind of relaxing our attention from all the things our attention is normally on, worries, thoughts. We're kind of taking all of our attention and our awareness here into the present moment. Listening for whatever's going on. Maybe you hear some things that I haven't mentioned. Just keep bringing your awareness back to sound. Keep bringing your awareness back to sound. No doubt you periodically have thoughts, most of us do. Maybe you constantly have thoughts. Maybe it's about this meditation. But every time you have a thought, once you're aware of it, it's okay. Just observe it. You can let it float away. And then come back to the sounds. If you're someplace where it's super quiet, perhaps you hear your breath. And then you come right back whenever your thoughts go off to any sounds that are around you. Listening again for sounds in the other room. Listening again for the sound of your heating system. Noticing again any sounds that are around, including your own breath. Of course, we all have thoughts when we're doing a meditation or a mindfulness exercise. If you have a moment or a few moments where you don't have thoughts, then you're, I don't know, really lucky. Many of us have thoughts the whole time. Am I doing this right? Why can't I focus on the sounds? Why do I keep having so many thoughts? All that's okay. We're not really trying to shut the mind down. Some people think that's what meditation is, just trying to shut the mind down, shut the brain down so we don't have so many thoughts. That's not actually it. It's more about being present with whatever is happening. So as you notice your thoughts, you kind of have a choice. You can try to bring your awareness right back to the present moment, bring your awareness right back to the sounds. Another option, though, is to notice your thoughts. We'll do that in our second exercise, just noticing our thoughts and letting them go and not getting upset about them. Right now, though, we are endeavoring to bring the mind right back to the sounds in your environment, including the sound of my voice. If there are sounds that are bothering you, sounds in the house, sounds in your office. Oh, a clock. I didn't think to mention the clock. There may be sounds that are kind of persistent, perhaps bothersome. Perhaps you wish they would go away. Perhaps you told people or asked people to be quiet and they're not being quiet. Any of those sounds, as best as you can, allow them to be, allow them to float through your awareness. And any resistance you feel to those sounds, as best as you can, kind of releasing that resistance. If there's a sound that you don't like, you'll certainly be tempted to kind of focus on it, feel frustrated by it. It's perfectly normal. If you're focusing on a sound, feeling frustrated by it, it's perfectly normal. But as much as you can shift that to accepting that that sound is there, releasing any amount of your frustration that you can release, and just moving towards acceptance of that sound. Okay, let's come back to our breath. Again, noticing your breath. Right back to your breath, noticing your breath. So, opening your eyes if that's comfortable for you. What we're going to do now is we're going to talk just a little bit, and then we're going to do another meditation. So again, what I'd like to know is how you're feeling about everything that's going on in your life right now. I get that there can be lots of different things that you're feeling. Let's talk about some of the more difficult ones. Maybe overwhelmed, maybe uncertain. There's probably some anxiety in there, probably some fear. But maybe, I don't know, you're feeling happy and peaceful. Maybe you're feeling happy and peaceful at the same time as you feel uncertain. We don't have to figure, I'm not really trying to figure out how you feel as much as inviting you to be open to how you feel. It could be kind of confusing how you feel. So I'm just trying to help you honor how you feel. It could be some of the more kind of difficult emotions, the overwhelm, the fear. But some of you might be relieved to be at home. You might feel kind of safer at home. You might be kind of happy to be at home with whomever you're at home with. Perhaps you're home alone. Perhaps that's difficult and you're feeling lonely and alone. Perhaps you're home alone with your kids and part of you is glad about that. And part of you is really frustrated. Thinks you should be happy all the time with everything that's happening. But this exercise is going to be about accepting how you feel rather than judging how you feel. Okay, right now, we're going to be accepting how we feel rather than judging how we feel. So, another meditation, we're going to come right back to breath awareness. Okay, so closing your eyes if you're comfortable with that. Again, we're going to come back to what I feel is an anchor for me. Again, noticing your breath. Noticing every inhale Noticing every exhale at your own pace, the inhale and the exhale. Noticing the expansion of your chest and the contraction of your chest. Of course, that's the same as noticing the expansion and the contraction of your rib cage. Noticing all of that. Now let's go to a thought exercise. We've already talked some about your thoughts, whatever they might be, wondering whether you're doing this right, wondering what's happening in the world, wondering if you really have enough time for this meditation, wondering if it's going to benefit you. So many thoughts. That's a small subset. No doubt you're having many different thoughts. In our last exercise, we kept coming back to the sounds. You can always come back to your breath. But there's another way we can kind of change our relationship with our thoughts, and that is to allow our thoughts. Picture them perhaps as clouds. You know how there's some time in your life where you've probably laid on the ground and looked up at the sky and the clouds were kind of moving by in the sky? Sometimes they're slow, sometimes they're fast. I want you to try to picture your thoughts that way. Each thought that comes, like a cloud that floats along and then leaves. So it kind of comes into your awareness, floats through your awareness, and leaves your awareness. If you're someone who has really fast thoughts, it could be a little bit more like a ticker tape, It kind of is flowing through really fast. We don't have to change the thoughts. We don't have to change the speed that the thoughts are coming. We're allowing them to pass through like clouds. So we're kind of changing our relationship with the thoughts to some degree. Now we're observing them instead of just being inside of them. Continue observing your thoughts as they come, kind of disentangling yourself from them to some degree, watching them, observing them move along. Some people like to picture balloons. Each thought that comes in, basically, you can release it. It can float away. Some thoughts seem to have more power. So, for example, if I have the thought, here's one with less power. It's pretty outside today. I don't know, that thought, it's kind of nice and easy to watch it just kind of float by as a cloud. Another thought would have more power. What if I get the coronavirus? What if I die or someone I love dies? That thought, it's a little bit harder to just observe it and let it go. Though with this practice, we can get better and better at observing our thoughts, allowing them to pass through, and letting go. With that first thought that it's a sunny day outside, it's kind of an easy thought also. The thought came to me, like I said, it was easy to notice it and let it go. But then that more difficult thought, I could get coronavirus, I could die. That had kind of an emotional charge. It kind of grabbed me in my chest. But once again, with this practice, I can practice just observing that thought as a cloud. And it can float through. I don't have to do anything to it. So now that we've been observing our thoughts, excuse me, we've been observing our thoughts as clouds. But before we started this exercise, I did ask you how you're feeling. And I'd like you to come back to that now for another minute or so. Ask yourself how you're feeling and listen as a best friend would listen. There's probably a part of your body that's often close to the chest, but it can be different for everybody, where your emotions often reside. So you can be listening at that place, listening for the answer as you ask yourself, how do I feel? And you're listening for emotions. It could be overwhelmed, anxious, fearful, unhappy. It could be uncertain, calm, peaceful. It could be determined. It's very true that you could be having 5 emotions at the same time, 10 emotions at the same time. You can be experiencing conflicting emotions. And you know something that's really hard is when we have emotions and we think we shouldn't. Right now, whatever emotions you're having, they're your emotions. They might feel really big, and you might be judging yourself for your emotions. I'd like to encourage you to back away from judgment, to allow those emotions. So, we can allow our emotions without embracing them fully. I mentioned this last week. If I'm super, super, super fearful, I can allow that emotion. There it is. It is true. I don't necessarily want it to be true, but I can allow it, accept that it's there, release it if I can at all, but then just come back to the present moment. Right? There can be a way of distracting ourselves from some of the difficult emotions at times. Coming back to the present moment, listening to my breath, doing an activity with somebody, taking a sip of my coffee. Those can all be ways that I bring myself back into the present moment. So coming back to your breath, now that you've observed your feelings, and then opening your eyes. And I'd like to say what we've just practiced. We practiced some breath awareness, some sound awareness, some thought awareness, and also some feelings awareness. And so the thing about mindfulness is it can help us to become more aware instead of just getting caught up in our emotions and caught up in our thoughts. Mindfulness can help us to become more aware of how we're doing. And also it can give us tools and skills to come back to the present moment. So I would encourage you today to do some more breath awareness, practicing with your breath. I would also encourage you today to notice the first bite you take of anything you eat and the first sip you take of anything you drink, right? Because then as you practice that, you're coming into the present moment, noticing that bite, noticing that flavor, noticing how something feels in your mouth, whether it's a liquid or food. It's another way to bring yourself into the present moment and to practice mindfulness. So that's what I challenge you to do. Every time you take your first bite today, every time you take your first sip of something, I challenge you to be fully aware in the present moment of how it feels inside your mouth and how it tastes. So again, I am really glad you joined me today. Again, my apologies for being so late. I got myself confused somehow. My name, again, is Penny Meckley Porter. I'm founder of Thrive Therapy Space here in Erie, Pennsylvania. I love teaching mindfulness and practicing mindfulness with people. I encourage you to continue practicing mindfulness and to continue to step away from your self-judgments. And I hope to see you again sometime soon. Thank you.